Hi everyone, I'm Renata, one of our fellow OB students from Monash University. Today I'm going to discuss one of the books that I just read, How to Win Friends and Influence Others by Carnegie. This book has sold over 30 million copies worldwide, making it one of the most best-selling books of all time. It mainly talks about how to be a good communicator and how to improve a relationship with other people. It is divided into 4 main parts. Part 1, Fundamental Technique in Handling People. Part 2, 6 Ways to Make Other People Like You. Part 3, How to Win People to Your Way of Thinking. And Part 4, Be a Leader, How to Change People Without Giving Offense or Arousing Resentment. Okay, before reading the book, I found the title really interesting, like How to Win Friends. I'm really curious about how the writer will create a strategy for that, because in my mind, how to make friends is something natural that doesn't require any strategy or else. But if I think again, I could relate with the fact that being liked with people is hard, and if we have the mindset that we're being hated by people, we will be scared to influence others. It is also really important for us, OB students, especially because we're in university who will enter a new world of workplace in the future, and we have to meet lots of new people. We obviously don't want to be invisible. We don't want to work with people that hate us. We definitely want to involve in major things. This book will give you guys strategy that you need to survive in working somewhere where you don't know anyone. Through this video, I'll point out 3 main lessons that I learned from this book. Is there anything that I disagree with? And some practical advice that you can apply in your future. The first lesson that I found interesting from this book is, if you're wrong, admit it. Dale tells a story about how he was able to escape from a car ticket by admitting that it is his fault. How did that happen? When you make a mistake, our first action will be defending ourselves, right? That if we make things worse, as the other person will be more angry because we try to challenge their reason to be angry at us. Instead, we should admit it before they even point out our mistakes. Admit that we are wrong. Admit how you feel really terrible about doing that mistakes. I'm so sorry, that's definitely my fault. I'll just redo it. You don't even have to pay me for that extra hour. The other person will feel empathy. They will feel less angry as they see us as someone who is not an escaper. The point is, evaluating yourself before letting others evaluate you will minimize how people react to your mistakes. The second lesson is, you can't win an argument. One sentence that really stuck in my mind after reading that chapter is, "My dear Dale, why prove to a man that he is wrong? Is that going to make him like you? Why not let him save his face?" When you have an argument with someone, actually there's no winner. Even when you win, you lose. Why? Because when you win an argument, you're making the other person feel bad. You put them in an embarrassing situation. You hurt their pride. We will end up having a bad relationship with them. Is that really worth it? No. What's the point of giving all of our energy to argue with someone just to make ourselves feel good, just to fulfill our ego but end up losing that person? Instead, you should just avoid an argument in the first place. And the last lesson is how to avoid making enemies by never telling people that they are wrong. Just imagine, after giving your opinion, someone tells you that, "You are really wrong. I'm gonna prove your opinion is wrong." You will definitely react by feeling negative about yourself and probably respond in a negative manner. It will feel like your opinion is not appreciated, that the other person is not showing any respect to you. That's why Dale wrote that you shouldn't say that someone is wrong. Even when they're wrong, you should approach them in a positive way, like giving them suggestion, delivering your response using a positive choice of word, like saying, "Thank you for your opinion, but what do you think about changing A to B?" Instead of, "Your opinion is trash." Okay, those 3 points really opened my eyes on how we should respond to other people. How a small thing that we say or do when responding to other people can create such a different outcome from others. All this time, I thought the outcome is the only things that matter, not considering the process of reaching that outcome and how my relationship is affected by that. Before, I always put myself as priorities, like everything I do is just for my own sake. For example, when doing group assignment, I always prioritize the assignment to be how I want it to be. I want it to reach my certain level of standard. I prefer to argue with all I have to make sure that they accept my opinion and force them to just follow my lead. That actually crash the group dynamic, which at the end reduce the outcome's quality. This book gives me new insight on what I should and shouldn't do when facing other people with different opinions in order to still have a good relationship with them. Okay, enough with the lessons. Now we go to the next part, the bad things about the book. Overall, in my opinion, this book and all of its strategy are really, really good if you want to be a salesperson or work in the marketing industry. I think it wouldn't be that effective in the context of leadership or finding real friends. Why? The first lesson, you can't win an argument. I think it puts too much focus on how to be a people pleaser and how to make people good about themselves without considering the importance of having our own stance. Like mentioned by Phelps in her journal, being a people pleaser could hold back our innovative ideas in the interest of being liked and accepted, and people around us might be missing out on opportunities to challenge and innovate. Especially in management context, we definitely will have different opinions with our workmates. We shouldn't just give up with our opinion. Our boss might think that we are a passive worker and don't want to get involved in decision making. I think it will be a good strategy if our objective is to track other people into liking us, like when you want to sell something as a salesperson. I also feel like the first lesson, if you're wrong, admit it, is kind of taking advantage of someone else's empathy in order to reduce our responsibility. This is what we call the empathy trap. Based on Barry, empathy trap is when empathy turns into enabling, or in other words, we manipulate someone's emotion to get what we want. It is a bad habit, especially if people overuse this strategy. Just imagine if your workmate keeps making the same mistakes and always use that strategy. At first, yep, you'll be okay with their mistake. But after time goes by, what's the point of giving someone empathy when they show no improvement and not giving any major impact on the project that we're doing? I feel like it kind of teaches us to be manipulative on someone. Okay, after reading this book and evaluating its good and bad, here's some advice that I could conclude for you guys. First, you need to create a balance between your own feelings and other people's feelings. When doing something, especially when you're working, you should understand your own needs first, then recognize others. Then we have to keep that in balance. Like, you have to help others without sacrificing your own. There's no point in making people happy, making people like you when you are not happy and fail to fulfill what you need and want. For example, in the workplace, you shouldn't just say yes to all of the extra workload that your boss gives to you because they think that we will always say yes no matter what. Instead, you should understand your limit, your work-life balance. You could use to never tell people the wrong strategy by saying, "Thank you so much for trusting me to do that stuff, but I would like more time to devote towards my current task. Is that okay if I finish this first and do that tomorrow?" Secondly, you have to recognize where and when we should use these strategies. All of these strategies could be really harmful if you overuse it. So you have to recognize it first and decide whether you should use it or not. For example, when you are new to a workplace, I think you should use it sometimes to get positive network, to be close with your workmates so they will be willing to help you when you have problems with something. But if you're leading a meeting, I think you should reduce the use of these strategies. You shouldn't just give up on your opinion in an argument where an important business decision will be made. You should definitely put lots of effort into your opinion to make sure that the outcome satisfies the company, because you don't want to be seen as a leader with no vision. And the last one, do not fully rely on these strategies. It is better to just follow the flow. Yeah, when we're entering a new workplace, I bet we'll panicking on how am I supposed to get close with my workmate, and then you ended up using all of these strategies non-stop all the time just to win their approval and attention. They might end up claiming that is your personality. That, once again, make us a people pleaser. Making friends will not always depend on whether other people like us or not, but also whether we enjoy talking and sharing our feelings to them. It shouldn't always be about the other person. It has to be two ways. Okay, so after discussing everything, I really recommend you guys to read this book, especially if you want to expand your network in business work and improve your ability to communicate with new people. That's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.